Yo, baby.
Yo, baby.
What's happening, man? Rob Scott, we back in the building, better than ever. Sweat.
Once again, time and time again, to give something to all of the Mars fans. What's happening, y'all?
Yo, what is it, Rob? What is it? Week 4?
I don't know, man. It just feels like forever, man. When you find your partner, this is a pause moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Resume.
But but when you find your partner, you just build something special, man, and it don't feel like work no more. It feels like fun, baby. I'm ready to have some fun tonight.
Man, we always having some fun tonight. But man,
Yes, Lord.
somebody that didn't have some fun last
Oh
night.
no, no, no.
Rudy Gobert is a walking meme yet again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to rumble because we got some stories to tell. We got some stories to tell. Rob Scott and I were, just chilling, watching some basketball last night. I had a great night. I first of all, I want to say shout out to Prime Time. Shout
Shout
out to
out.
my dogs. Shout out to my boys. We handled business. We are now 5-0. Next week we have a doubleheader to finish off the regular season. Could finish the season off 7-0. We are the best team in the league right now, statistically, in every category. I had 3 sacks last night. Yeah, I had 3 fingers up. Thank God. And potentially, I called Rob, potentially a concussion. I got laid out by my boy Thomas. My man is a walking airbag. That man built like a fridge. But it's all right. It happens, baby. It's all good. We got after it. We played cover 0 the whole night, Rob. I was safety blitzing the whole time. We
Yeah.
told this team, we saw them 2 weeks ago. Remember, dude stepped on my foot, kicked me in my knee. I said, bro, I'm going to see you. That win wasn't good enough. First 3 plays of the game, laid him on his ass. Laid him on his ass. Laid him on his ass.
Mm.
Third time, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a little bogus. Slammed his head in the ground. I said, man, it's gonna be a long night. Stay your ass down. This kid, I gotta give him love. He got back up, did his thing. We won 38-6, so he didn't really do his thing, but
Yeah.
he tried. He tried, and I gotta give him credit. We had a great conversation after the game. Sportsmanship was out of this world. We play on Lakeshore Drive. If y'all ever want to pop out to the games, amazing football in the city, man. Chicago does not get talked enough about their football players. We talk about the hoopers. We talk about what they're able to do on the court, but man, we do it all. We better than y'all at everything.
Everything. Everything.
Except pickleball. I don't think we mess with that. But
But
we
if
try.
I find out how to play it, I'll beat them in that
But
too.
I'll bust your ass in pickleball. We put the money on it. It's over with. It's gonna get. We gonna get
I'm
started.
a very competitive person.
It's over, man. We in there like swimwear, baby. But last night, the competition was hot.
Yeah.
The hands were flying. It was a squabble. I love that word, squabble. You know I rarely get to use it, so we had a
Hey,
squabble
hey,
last night.
hey, I don't know if you ever saw Snowfall, but when my man's beat him up, teach your man's how to squabble.
Bro, last night was crazy. So I'm sitting,
Wow.
hanging out with a friend. We just sitting there.
Kicking
And
the
I'm watching
ball.
the game. No Curry. So I'm like, all right. Now, Rob, me and you have talked about it all off season long. Me and you were actually very vocal about I don't believe the biggest rivalry is Phoenix versus Golden State. I don't believe it's Los Angeles versus Los Angeles.
Hmm.
I don't believe it's Memphis versus the Warriors. Me and you have spoken about Anthony Edwards' hate for the Warriors. He's spoken publicly with Malika Andrews, if I'm not mistaken. It was in an interview with ESPN. I do remember that. He said he wants to see the Warriors. I remember him and Draymond going tick for tack, talking that ish.
Hey, you told Draymond, ain't nobody worried about you, bro.
Ain't nobody worried about
Boy,
you, bro.
oh boy, did he eat them words.
I mean, hey, I guess Rudy was. But man, bro, this was a game that I was excited about, especially because Steph Curry wasn't in this game. So I felt
Yeah.
like Anthony Edwards could have went crazy. But Rob, very quickly into the game, I see my boy Clay. What happened? Whoa, 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 whoa. I see hands are coming out. Whoa, everybody get tangled up. Then I'd have left. Draymond Green come out the corner of my eye and he grab on the Rudy Gobert talking about, Mom.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Call for your mama.
I said, hey, yo, was it that serious? Was it that? Rob Scott, Rob, I was baffled. It blew me away. Now, I understand the competitiveness, but Rob, I need Rob of Rob's 2 cents to take me through the thought process in Draymond Green in that scenario, because to me, maybe he caught a certain angle of Rudy Gobert. Maybe he caught a certain something. I don't know. Rob, how'd you feel about it, bro? Like, what was it an overreaction on Draymond's part? Who, before you go, we have just found out before this show, immediately as you heard the Mars intro, we got some breaking news. Draymond Green has been suspended for not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 games, including an in-season game tournament. He will be losing $700,000+ in that time. Chump
Well,
change.
they just said, I just heard a statistic that Draymond has already paid like $1.3 million in fines in his total career.
I mean,
That's a lot of money.
but you know what though? You know what though? Before you go, I will say this: guys like Patrick Beverley, guys like Draymond Green,
They
maybe
need it.
they pay that small fine, but they get paid money to do what they do. So
They need it. I mean, they're needed. You need a dirty guy on your. I mean, I'm not saying we promote dirty play, but you always need a guy that's not afraid to get his hands a little
I
dirty.
promote dirty play.
I mean, hey, ask the Bulls about the Dennis Rodman. You know, ask the old school Pistons about Rick Mahorn. Ask the Rockets about Vernon Maxwell. You need guys that get the job done. You know, Charles Oakley. You know, ain't let nobody talk crazy to Michael Jordan. You crazy now with Oakley on this team.
Man, come on. So, Rob, take me through. What were your thoughts, though, man? Did I know you're a diehard Warriors? Where's the Warriors hat? First of all, on a night like tonight, where's the Warriors hat?
I was feeling real Chicago-ish today. So.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, but let's talk about it though. So, Jaden McDaniel and Klay Thompson. According to Jay McDaniel, Klay had been chirping even before the game started. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Klay gonna talk his talk. You know, remember, he's gonna let people know how many he got. And this ain't representing the 4 horsemen. We talking about a 4-time champion. you understand me? You understand me? So him and Jaden McDaniel, I believe at that time, Minnesota had the ball. They shot and missed, and him and Klay started boxing each other out. And as Klay boxed him out, he kind of tugged his jersey. I will say, Klay kind of initiated. I don't know if the jersey tug was intentional, but I know he ended up pulling his jersey. And then my boy, Jaden McDaniels, as you know, he has shown that he ain't afraid to step up to nobody.
Right.
Him and Klay going down the court tussling, he grabbing Klay jersey, you know. And people even saying hands were thrown. They saying, you know what I'm saying, he got, you know what I'm saying, he tried to throw a little left straight in there. So they get to the middle of the court, finally get a little separation. I don't know where Green vision was at, but to us, the viewers, you can clearly see Rudy Gobert was trying to diffuse the situation. But as a guy on the court, seeing one of the best players on our team already get into a scuffle, and then I see this 7'5", you know, Frenchman with his hand around his throat, Draymond snapped.
Right.
And he proceeded to give my man the Melvin treatment. Oh, baby boy. I mean, hey, you know, ding, ding, ding. That's all I heard. I started, Jerry. I mean, they was going at it. And the way he choked them up, it was just the face Rudy Gobert made that were priceless. You could tell he was in shock. He was like, somebody, please get him up off me. Oh, Lord Jesus. Right. The bully is bullying me. And you know, it is, you know, Draymond ain't worried about. I'm pretty sure, you know, I would say Steph and Klay would pay his fines because, I mean, any teammate, you know, as a teammate, you happy at what Draymond did because, you know, he's standing up for his guys. But, you know, Draymond reputation precedes himself. You know what I'm saying? And you knew he was going to get suspended. You knew he was going to get fined. Luckily, he just got a huge payday. So I don't think the fine is not really going to hurt him. But, you know, Rudy Gobert, like I was telling you before we started the show, I was watching Undisputed. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am still a fan of Undisputed. I'm a fan of Skip Bayless, regardless of what people got to say about him. My boy knows his stuff. And Richard Sherman brought up a good point. As a, you know, a person who's played, you know, on teams, when fights break out, you don't go grab the other team. You get your teammate. You move your teammate out the way to defuse the situation. You grabbing on the opposing team ain't gonna do nothing but add logs and fuel to that fight. You gotta be smarter than that, Gobert. And on top of that, remember that soft ass punch he threw at his own teammate Cal Anderson when
Right.
Rudy Gobert. People think you soft. Maybe you might just have to knock somebody what we call the fuck out, and
Right.
so people can leave you alone because clearly
So,
everybody
so wait.
you the guy to mess with.
So I got something for you right now, though. 'Cause this was my problem with the whole thing, right? I'm a big believer in remembering where people. Oh man, Randy Jowers. Shout out to my guy GG, Big DG in Memphis, man. He does a lot of amazing things. Shout out Glenn and everybody else.
Hey, shout out to everybody. My boy LA, my boy John.
Megan, thank
Everybody,
you.
we appreciate the love.
But listen, so
My
here's
boy
the thing.
Ray on here.
Here's my big thing, and here's my problem. And I've talked to Ray Bond about this specifically. And Randy obviously brought it up. He said, "Cat's a hoe." Now here's my thing.
Oh, I've been seeing
But here's my thing. When you get into a scuffle, and Rob's South Side, I'm from the North Side, but at the end of the day, Chicago runs on fighting. Growing up, that's just what it is. We scuffle, we get into it, we get sturdy. Like it's just what it is. And I think the biggest thing that I realized is growing up was remembering where everybody was when something real went down.
Facts.
Where was my boy Chach? Where was my boy Buddha? Where was my boy E? Was somebody just standing there watching? Was somebody running away? Was somebody recording it? And that's the shit that pisses me off the most. I'm getting my ass beat and somebody just recording it. That's bro, like what? But Rob, we have seen this multiple times. Karl Anthony Towns just not being big, not being assertive, not being a leader. Anthony Edwards was down with the smoke. Rudy Gobert was obviously in a certain situation to where he couldn't get involved because he was involved. But man, talk to me about Karl Anthony Towns and where that shows his values as a teammate. Because I've seen Andrew Wiggins get into it. I've seen Ant get into it. So many others now. Rudy, where's Cat?
Let me tell you something about Cat, okay? I don't like to call out another man and talk about what they would or wouldn't do. But Cat has shown you in his play, he's soft.
Mm-hmm.
7 foot tall. Every time I look up, you standing at the 3-point line.
Yep.
He don't want to get down there and bang. He don't want to get down there and get dirty in the paint. In the words of my boy Randy Jowers, read it out loud, everybody. Now, I'm not going to say that just in case, we get some NBA sponsorship and we able to get to these games. But, Cat,
Hey,
I will say this. In the words of my boys, Enzo and Kaz, that boy is SAWFT.
Mm-hmm.
Soft. Cotton soft. I'm talking about Cottonelle. I'm talking about, matter of fact, he's Charmin soft. He got the double roll soft. I mean, I don't know, man, Cat. I don't know where you from, but like Mike was saying, out here in Chicago, one fight, everybody's going. It's just how it go, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's a one-on-one, you do your thing. But if you seeing everybody crowd around, you better hope that you with the right people to come step up on your behalf.
And it's the part that makes me more upset is, and listen, no disrespect, because if we get some NBA sponsors, we'd love it. We'd love it out here. But here's the reality: when you have a voice like,
oh my God, Randy, Zebo wasn't.
And Cat sound like this. He gets on the mic and he talks like this. Hey man, I don't know what happened. I don't know where I was. I don't really know what Draymond was doing, but I think it was really wrong. Man, and then I see him acting tough on different occasions, man. Rob, you know how I look at a guy like Cat.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Hey, look, like he said, man. He asked what Randy said. What Zebo would have done? We talk about Zebo looked in the face of DeMarcus Cousins while they was at the free throw line, and they was doing some healthy, playful jabbing each other. But he told him, where I'm from, bullies get bullied.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the cloth Zebo cut from. And that's what kind of disappointed me about Cat, because we know Memphis to be such a strong organization. They call it the grindhouse.
Yep.
This is what I'm saying. You can't be coming in here being soft, bro. Memphis got a reputation to uphold. You know what I'm saying? And Minnesota, I'm looking at what Cat doing with Minnesota. It's horrible, bro.
Right.
It's horrible.
Right.
AG playing for Minnesota, bro. You gotta be tougher than that, blood.
Bro, it's crazy. Rob said blood.
Sam,
That's how you know.
Sam, Sam, Sam Cassell. I mean, you got some real tough dudes that play for Minnesota, bro.
Yeah. And that's one of my biggest things. I think we've had these conversations for years. Really looking at Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was really the eye opener for me. Jimmy was trying to get paid as well. Jimmy made it known he didn't want to be in Minnesota, but a big part of why Jimmy didn't want to be in Minnesota was because the mentality of a young Andrew Wiggins and a young Karl Anthony Towns. Now, Andrew Wiggins, hey, got to give him his flowers. He matured, he grew up, he became a champion, and he became somebody that you could rely on to be there night in and night out. The only time he wasn't was when obviously he had some personal issues that he needed to figure out last season, and that had nothing to do with, his maturity level. Karl Anthony Towns, however, I just look at it, man, and I go, him and Anthony Davis are two peas in a pod. I mean, Randy Jowers says it right here. Jimmy B told us that team was soft as Charmin, and no cap. You could wipe your bum with them. I mean, that's just really what it is. Tuck you in at night type. They got the heated blanket on. They ready. They got the pillows propped up. They old ladies. That's really what it is at the age of 22.
It's funny that you mentioned Jimmy, bro, because for that news to come out that he has this disagreement with the Minnesota Timberwolves in practice, and he grabs the C squad. I don't even think he got the second unit.
Him and D Rose
the practice squad, bro. Like, he got the injury reserve squad. Like, you get minutes if all hell breaks loose and all our players go down. Like, he took these guys and went at cat. Like, and that's what I asked myself, because that's one of the most disappointing things. All jokes aside, with the fighting situation, that's one of the things that disappoint me about Cat. Is because you have all the talent in the world. You have all the talent in the world. For him to be that large of a person, to be able to shoot the three ball the way. I mean, we talk about a center who won the damn 3-point contest. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for him to have that type of talent, for him to have that type of size, and for him to just seemingly let people beat up on him to the point where he doesn't even want to participate in paint activities. That's what bothers me, man. I'll be like, Lord, you made the wrong person 7 feet.
No, for sure. And you know what, man? God forbid Rob Scott was 7 feet tall. God forbid he was in Karl Anthony Towns' body.
I'd be like Shaq, bro. Like, it would have been a problem for people. Like, I'd have been straight. What you say to me?
On the real. But man, like, there's so many conversations about him and Anthony Davis and their toughness and their willingness to fight for their teams. And like I said earlier, I think they're two peas in a pod. I really do. I see no difference between Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Davis. The only difference to me is one is defensive minded and the other shoots threes. And to me, I think that's not what you want to see from your franchise players. I do not care about anything you're bringing to this organization other than toughness. They brought in Rudy Gobert for a reason, Rob. And I got to give it to Rudy. Rudy is a top 3 rebounder in basketball as of today. I mean, last season, basura. Absolutely. Rob, say it for me. How was he?
Basura.
But this season, he has been absolutely phenomenal on offensive boards and defensive boards. I have to give him his credit. And I think you're starting to really see that. The question to me is Karl Anthony Towns going to get moved eventually in favor of Anthony Edwards now being the face of the franchise? And you have Karl Anthony Towns, who, man, we've seen you here for a while now. And I think the time is just running out. But, Rob, that's a perfect transition.
Yeah.
That's a perfect transition because it also talks and deals with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It also talks about somebody who's been here for quite some time. Rob, talk to me about the last 7 years. I remember a few summers ago, 7 summers ago, we're sitting here. We're enjoying some NBA lottery, NBA draft, the Bulls. See what the Bulls are going to cook up, man. We just saw Dwayne Wade, Rajon Rondo, and Jimmy Butler almost take down the Boston Celtics led by Isaiah Thomas. I mean, Rob, let's get into Zach Lavine's tenure as a Chicago Bull. The last 7 years, we traded away Jimmy Hemby. The G stands for gets.
We really got to talk about that.
We got to bring it down. We got to bring it down, and we have a reason why we're discussing it. 7 years ago, the Chicago Bulls traded Jimmy Butler in exchange for the number 7 overall pick from the Minnesota Timberwolves, which turned into Lauri Markkanen, who has improved into one of the most improved players in the NBA with the Utah Jazz, and of course not with the Chicago Bulls. Chris Dunn, who prior to getting a concussion was actually a very solid point guard for the Chicago Bulls. After he completely face planted, I think he kind of fell off the face of the earth. Last time I checked, he was on the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know where he's currently at. If I'm Rob, if you can look that up, I have no idea if he's still in the league. I know, and no disrespect to Chris Dunn, I was a big fan of his game. I really just haven't heard anything from him as of lately. Haven't seen him in any rotations. Haven't seen him really doing anything. And Zach Lavine coming off of an ACL injury. I was actually at Zach Lavine's first game as a Chicago Bull at the United Center against the Detroit Pistons. We won that game. He was wearing those fresh white.
He's with Utah.
He's with Utah. He's with Lauri. All right, so that's actually pretty cool. Chris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen are out in Utah, and Zach Lavine has become the face of the franchise in Chicago. 7 years later, we have 2 All-Star appearances. Zach Lavine has shot over 38% from 3 in his career in Chicago, 24 points per game. Obviously, it has declined extremely since in the last couple of years, since the incline of 2020. You bring in DeMar DeRozan, you bring in Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic, Alex Caruso, Torrey Craig, Patrick Beverley. The list goes on of veterans that they have brought in. And I will say, to Zach's credit, they have not drafted well. You had a number 4 overall pick, and it is a bust in Patrick Williams. You have Ayo Dosunmu, Marko Simonovic, and Dalen Terry, who are role players at best, and Marko Simonovic isn't even on the team. Dalen Terry is in between a Windy City Bull and a Chicago Bull, Rob. I really don't know. He's kind of just there. He feels more like a social media stunt than anything. No disrespect to Dalen. As of right now, I just haven't seen anything. And Billy Donovan has also had his issues. But, Rob, it's finally coming together. And I'm very long-winded, and I apologize for everybody listening, but Rob and I have been waiting a long time on this. So, damn it, I'm going to take my time. The Chicago Bulls and Zach Lavine's camp have mutually agreed to seek a trade for Zach Lavine.
Yeah.
And that was reported by our Chicago native himself, Alayola Rambler, Shams, who does an amazing job. If you got to pick between Shams and Woj, I got to rock with the Chi-Town heroes. Got to go with Shams. No disrespect to Woj, but Rob, talk to me a little bit about a rough 4-7 start just to hear this news that Zach said, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore.
It just proved me right. I've been saying since before the season started, I've been saying as the season has progressed in this very early NBA season, that the Bulls need to go into full rebuild mode. We don't have it right now. We're like that ugly middle child. Like, and no offense to any middle kids out there, we got love for you. But what I'm saying is, we're not good enough to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We're not bad enough to be the worst team in the league. We just suck. It's just right there. Like, we're going to win a couple of games. We're going to shock a couple of people. And then for the most part, we kind of understand how our season is going to go. Right. So I'm actually happy that Lavine has asked for this, because right now, I didn't know what the Bulls organization was going to do. We got Billy Donovan, who was like kind of afraid to speak to his players. The Bulls, higher management have not been doing a good job in drafting, or in DeRozan was the best free agency move they did. Paying Vucevic all that money, paying Zach Lavine all that money. Like, you should have reevaluated the situation. Unfortunately, we went through the bad thing with Lonzo Ball. It's just time to break this thing up. And Zach Lavine, I said, if the Bulls were going to be successful, that he was going to have to step up and really be the leader that the Bulls needed, because DeRozan has taken a step back. Father time is catching up with him, you can tell. He's not going to be the guy that can give you 30 points. He's not going to be the guy that's going to be hitting back-to-back game winners. He's not going to be the guy that's being Mr. Fourth Quarter. DeRozan is just good enough now. Like, he's going to have some games where he can't go for 30. He's going to have some games where he only scored 12 points. That's just where he's at in his career right now. And Zach Lavine is young enough. He has enough skill to potentially stand out and be a leader on this team. He just doesn't have it in the heart department. And hey, I'm not mad at the Bulls organization. I'll be trying to shop him for the highest bidder. No. And Gonzo, you ain't lying, because your boys are tough right now.
Yes,
Them
sir.
Pacers are tough as hell, right?
Yes, sir.
Halliburton is a dog.
Man, he's been going. And you know what? I will say, and for anybody who's really been watching, Obi Toppin has been
A dog.
crazy.
Dog.
Lost with Tom Thibodeau, but you see him flourish in Indiana right now. And I also want to give a shout out to Chris. I haven't talked to Chris in a very long time. I haven't talked to Pops. They still do amazing things over at the ASAP Network. You can check out their wrestling shows. They
Check
do
out the Gonzo Sports Room.
super hot fire. I mean, we love to see it. We love to see it. Got to give us some love to our boys, man, because man, we used to do shows with them every morning, Rob. They used to be like clockwork. So much fun. But man, it's interesting, man. It really is. And you want to know when it was for me? I had two instances because Rob is amazing. Rob is amazing because he doesn't reel me back in. Rob never reels me back in. Rob never tries to. He keeps it a bean with me. But Bulls fans and myself reel me back in every single year. They give me hope. I say, you know what? We just beat Toronto. We just beat Toronto Raptors because DeMar DeRozan's daughter is the queen of scream. I mean, the absolute queen of the fourth quarter. She's making OG miss threes, making Siakam missed free throws. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And then we go up. And here was one of the spots for me, Rob. One was I saw what we all saw.
Uh-huh.
The man we traded away, Jimmy Butler, go to not one, but two finals and multiple Eastern Conference finals with the Miami Heat. Almost going to the finals with the Philadelphia 76ers.
I know Philly's still kicking themselves in the ass for letting him go.
I mean, man, that's a whole different thing. But
chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. Are you crazy?
Man, chose Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler. That's what
it
was.
Are you crazy? Y'all better be lucky Tyreese Maxey showing up. We're gonna talk about him later.
Lucky is an understatement because Joel Embiid would be the hottest player right now entering free agency and potentially requesting. I swear to God, he would not have re-signed without Tyreese Maxey in the near future. But Rob, man, you look at what this team has been able to do. We're talking about a first round exit in 2021 against the Milwaukee Bucks, which fine, that's respectable. I'm not mad at it. But then you get beaten in the play-in by Jimmy Butler. And remember the energy I had last year. I'm not a lie, man. I tell nothing but the truth. I will always keep that same energy. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Rob and last year I said it. The Warriors are going to the finals. Rob said the same thing. And we said they're going. We were wrong. But on the East, I said Jimmy Butler is going to the finals again. Watch.
You did.
Watch. And the thing about that, a bunch of white boys, another Chicago Bull, former Chicago Bull, Max Strus, and just bam. Like, and Tyler Hero wasn't even involved.
No, he was injured.
So I look at that and I go, Jimmy did more with less for the last 4 years. And we have given Zach Lavine every opportunity to be a top 10, top 15 player, whether that's in the playoffs or during the regular season, and he hasn't in either. You want to have issues with Billy Donovan about not being that guy. But here's my next point that I want to make. The moment for me was on a beautiful 2023 New Year's Eve day. And then on New Year's Eve, the night before, 2022, 2021, back-to-back years, DeMar DeRozan with game winners, baby. Yeah. That was the moment I realized Zach Lavine wasn't the guy. Because DeMar became that guy.
I told you that already, though.
You told me that.
You gotta listen to your boy. I saw how Zach was in Minnesota. One thing I trust about people, and it's the old cliche, you don't trust what people say, you trust what people do. Their actions are going to show you who they are. And Zach Lavine has shown us time and time again, with all the skill that he has, he is not a leader amongst men.
Right.
It takes a special kind of player. It takes a special kind of guy. Not even just in sports. We're talking about CEOs, talking about VPs, talking about great managers. It takes a great person, man or woman, to be a leader amongst people. Not everybody has that.
Right.
You think somebody can go out there and do what Martin Luther King did? No. You think people can go out there and do what Napoleon did? No. It takes a different type of guy with a different type of leadership. Hey, say what you want. I know the history and all this stuff, but what I'm saying is when you can get a whole group of people to follow what you do, that's a special kind of person. Now, what you do can be on you.
Rob,
But
was Napoleon a good guy?
hey, history is always told by the winner. Don't have me start dropping jewels on y'all. They come to me for the truth.
He avoided my question. No, but I
I
agree.
George Bush that thing. You know what I'm
On
saying?
God, he did. On
You
God,
gotta
he did.
avoid. You gotta evade. You gotta evade.
Hey, when is the money coming to Haiti? Anyways,
Oh Lord.
what do you mean? But no, man. In all seriousness, I completely agree. I completely agree in the disgruntlements with a guy like Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan's a very well respected coach, like
In college.
in college. But no, as a coach, you've never heard a player say Billy Donovan's a fool. Billy Donovan's disrespectful. Billy Donovan doesn't treat his
No,
players right.
but
So
what
for
I'm
Zach to have that problem, though, Rob, is my problem.
you
Is you
hearing
want
about
to be
Greg
that?
Popovich, and I'd rather go play for Greg than Billy any day.
I think I'd rather play for anybody. I'd rather play for Greg than anybody in this world.
Shout out to Coach Pop.
Come on, talk to him. But man, I got a few proposals that were on the TV today.
Okay.
A couple on FS1, a couple on ESPN, but these were a couple of my favorites.
Yeah.
Zach Lavine,
Mm-hmm.
2 trade proposals. I want you to see which one you favorite. Now you know which one I want. Now there's one that I know is better, but there's one in my heart that I won't. I wants it. I needs it. I got to have it.
Don't say the Memphis to bring Rose back.
I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm okay. The
You
first
scare me
trade,
sometime.
Zach Lavine and Javon Carter to the Golden State Warriors in exchange for Klay Thompson, Jonathan Kuminga, and a 2028 first-round pick and a 2030 swap. Rob, what do you think this trade does for both sides? And do you think it's at all realistic? Because this is all on TV. This is not created by Mike and Rob. We do not own the rights to these graphics, whatever. I don't care. But what do you think?
No.
Even for the Bulls?
No. For the Bulls, it'll be good. And even then, I mean, you get Kuminga, which is, I think he's going to be a young stud in
He's
the
like,
NBA.
what, 25, 26?
Yeah, he's like, what, his second, third year?
Mm.
So, I think he's going to be a stud in the NBA. But Clay is on the downside of his career.
On a 1-year deal, though.
Yeah, I still, I want the most bang for my buck. All you doing is you getting a little better.
Right. And Mike Hughes is getting the Klay Thompson Bulls.
I just rather them. If you're gonna do something like that, I'd rather you trade draft picks. And of course, for my Warriors, that's definitely not a good deal. You already guard heavy as hell. You're gonna bring in 2 smaller guard and let go of Kuminga, who you're gonna definitely need going down the road and getting into playoff contention due to his size and his athletic ability. Not a smart move at all.
Well, not even that, Rob. Think about it. Like, respectfully, Curry's out there cooking, but for how long? You know what I mean? When is the kitchen closed?
Yeah, he's gonna eventually cool off, and then that fire gonna come back on. You know how it goes.
Originally you said, not you, but we said, hey man, Jordan Poole's the next face of the Warriors. Woo,
yeah,
woo,
I
woo,
never
woo.
said that.
No, we didn't. But everybody said when these guys retire, Poole, Wiseman, and company, they're gonna be here. All right, Poole's gone, Wiseman's gone. Kuminga is the only one that's left. So you got to have some young guns still here. Here's the one that I like the most. This is one I've seen circled around. This is one that I think, to be honest, Rob, is the best Bulls team on paper. If in this scenario you trade Zach, keep DeMar, keep Caruso, keep Vooch, I think this is the best move that the Chicago Bulls can make, and I think they make the playoffs with this roster. The move is to the Los Angeles Lakers. Zach Lavine goes to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves for a 2023 swap and a 2029 first-round pick. Rob, I like this move the most because I look at it and I see what we're not able to do from a scoring standpoint consistently in the starting 5. Rui is 10 times better than Patrick Williams. And then you have D'Angelo Russell, who is an actual floor facilitator and can shoot the 3 ball. So your starting 5 would look something like D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, DeMar DeRozan, Rui Hachimura, and Nikola Vucevic / Andre Drummond, because you know I love me some Andre Drummond. But in all seriousness, man, I think this would be the best floor spaced and overall constructed Bulls team that we've seen since Lonzo Ball was last on the floor. How do you feel about it?
I would trade. I would make that trade in a heartbeat.
Do you think the Lakers make that trade?
Hell no. Hell no. Because look at what you're giving up to get Zach Lavine. Say what you want about D'Lo, but D'Lo keeps them in a lot of games.
Mhm.
You know. Now I'm not saying he always makes the right decision and he's not always on, but when he's on, he can be one of the premier players on that roster. Letting go of Austin Reeves, yes, I know Reeves has not played up to the expectations that people thought after he got his payday,
Right.
but Reeves has still shown that he's a very, very intelligent player and he can get the job done when needed. And then Hachimura, I love Hachimura's game. He can stretch the floor out. He can bang down low. He was training with LeBron in the offseason, so he's built up his stamina and kind of understanding and learning what it takes to win in this league. For the Bulls, it's an excellent trade. For the
Right.
Lakers, if I was LeBron, if you made that trade, you might as well trade me too.
Right. And you know what I noticed in this graphic that they made? It says we're also getting 2 picks from them as well. One is a pick swap in 2030 and one's a first round pick in 2029. And I understand that that's later and they're not worried about later, but you're not getting, I believe Austin and Rui are both in their 20s, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have D'Lo, who's still great at what he does.
And I think D'Lo is still in his late 20s.
So
D'Lo's not that old.
You're not getting multiple first round picks for that either.
As long as you're not dating Iggy Azalea and he can see it, D'Lo is perfect.
Man.
But if you got a girl and you got a side piece around and D'Lo see that, you might want to try to reach D'Lo before you reach your woman. I'm just, look at That's all I'm saying.
Huh?
Shout out to Nick Young.
Huh? Hey, shout out to Nick Young, by the way. Big 3 champion. Big 3 champion. Trilogy won the Enemies won the championship this year for the Big 3. We got to cover that. It was a lot of fun. We got that episode coming out what's tonight? Today's Wednesday. Wednesday. Tomorrow we are dropping the Ice Cube video on our YouTube. Definitely check it out. We've obviously already seen it. You guys have already checked it out. But if you
ain't seen it, go check it out.
Check it out on Mars. You can our interview with Ice Cube talking about the Big 3, Lancey Limbier, and so many others. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting to see him again sometime very soon. But Rob, one last thing I want to point out before you.
Because we talk about the Bulls too long. They're trash.
100%.
They're about Sura. The Bulls don't deserve this much of our time on the second.
So the next topic we have involves the Bulls.
Yeah.
But we understand that if one domino is falling, and this is quote unquote the biggest domino in Zach Lavine, then the rest are coming very shortly. Now, in this scenario, Rob and I did not do Nikola Vucevic. I feel like after the extension and just because of the market for centers right now, I don't think they would move on from him. I also don't think they would trade away everybody and then we're going to end up losing every single game. They have to have
somebody. And they just paid him.
Right. And he's older. So what is anybody really going to pay for?
Yeah.
Nikola Vucevic, I imagine, remains with this team. If anything changes on that standpoint, we will definitely discuss it. 3 teams, 3 players. I'm going to go first, and then we're going to hear from Rob. 3 teams that we think Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach Lavine would fit best and what teams have the potential to trade for them. I'm going to fly through it, Rob, if you don't mind, because I really don't care. I'm over it. Wherever they go is fine with me. Get the fuck out. I will drive you there myself. Me and my 2002. But with that being said, I want to start off with Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, to me, fits the Pat Riley market. Fits the scheme, fits the culture of Heat culture, 305. I mean, come on, think about it. Think about it. The last time we saw a bald headband in Miami, they won a championship. Let's talk about it. I mean, Alex Caruso is LeBron 2.0 in South Beach, Rob. I think that's the best move. I think they failed to get Drew Holiday. They failed to get Damian Lillard. They failed to get Bradley Beal. And if they cannot get a healthy Malcolm Brogdon anytime soon, who still hasn't been healthy, he's out with a hamstring the last couple of days, I think Alex Caruso fits what Jimmy Butler and company are trying to accomplish. I think he's better than Kyle Lowry at this current state. And defensively, I think they'd be nasty. with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and then you get throw in a guy like Alex Caruso. I think they got some crazy things in the works.
Yes,
Number
sir.
2, DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, to me, I have an honorable mention because I thought about it during this show. The honorable mention to me, I look at this trade right here, and I say, if it was DeMar DeRozan instead of Zach Lavine in exchange for Kuminga, I think Golden State Warriors look at that and say, the mid-range game, we got the three-point shooters. I think they would be interested in a guy like DeMar, but I don't think financially that makes sense. What does make sense is a team that traded James Harden for a bunch of veterans on one-year deals. They have all the draft picks in the world now. The Philadelphia 76ers, to me, with Tyreese Maxey and Joel Embiid, seem like the perfect fit for a guy like DeMar DeRozan, where he can still flourish, be that number 3 option alongside Maxey and Embiid. I think it fits the most. The Bulls would be acquiring one-year deals who would expire towards the end of the season, wouldn't go towards the cap. The Bulls would then obviously have a salary cap where, hey, we can get a max player in free agency. We can acquire a big-time name because we have everybody on expiring deals. And maybe you get a couple draft picks from that as well. Maybe not big-time draft picks, but I'm talking like pick swaps, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. Some 2023 or some 2030, 2029 stuff. Nothing too deep. I don't think Debo has that command. And then number 3, Zach Lavine. I don't care. I'm going to just say the Lakers because that's what we've heard so much of. Honorable mention, I think the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets might be involved as well. I could definitely see that being possible. Maybe another one, the Utah Jazz. But Rob, talk to me a little bit about where you see these 3 going.
I don't care.
Facts.
All right, now, but all honestly, I think Toronto would be a good fit for Caruso. The reason I say that, they've been having some guard problems. I don't think they played with Gary Trent Jr. as of yet. You let go of Fred VanVleet. He went to go get his payday. And I think Caruso will be a good compliment with Siakam, with Anunoby, and those boys over there. Who we would get for them, I don't know. They got a couple nice young players over there. Maybe we could bring Trent over here to solve our guard issues. But I think Caruso will be a great fit, especially with his defensive tenacity. The Toronto's been playing pretty okay this year. I'm not saying that they're world beaters, but they're better than I thought they were going to be, especially losing somebody like Van Fleet. For DeRozan, I would say Boston. And the reason I say Boston is because Boston's bench to me is not so tough. They've been playing okay for now, but when you get into the playoffs and things like that, especially not even getting into the playoffs, when you start to get later on down in the season, you want to give your guys some rest. You're going to want to be able to rely on your bench to keep you in the standings and to not lose games, because we know the better you are as a team, when you get up there towards the top, the moment you lose 3 or 4 games, now that can be a difference of you being the 2 seed to now being the 6 seed. And right now, I think it's going to be a tight race in both conferences. And then for Lavine, I would say New Orleans. I think New Orleans will be a great landing spot for Lavine. I like to take some of those young guards they got. It's this one kid, I can't think of his name right now. I think it's Marshall Najee Marshall. Yeah, that kid. That kid has been playing, man. Him is another guy, Kira Lewis. He's been showing jump like his. I was watching New Orleans the other day, man, and they had a surprising victory. Like I didn't think,
Yeah.
Zion stepped up pretty big. Brandon Ingram, him, and they starting to get their thing together. But they got some great young guards over there, and I think Lavine could add something for them. But me personally, if I'm the Chicago Bulls, if I don't do it mid-season, nobody's coming back at the end of this year. Everybody has to go. We have to rebuild. We have to give ourselves a chance to get better. And holding on to aging veterans ain't gonna be. That's just not the solution. Shout out to my boy Jay, man. What's happening, brother? And shout out to the ASAP family. What's going on, y'all?
Dude.
Jay Zach needs to go to Detroit so Chicago can get Cunningham. That'd be good too. But I think with the way Detroit is playing right now, I don't think they're gonna give up that young core. Detroit has been hooping this year.
For sure.
They've been hooping this year.
I got a question, Rob.
Yeah.
My boy Amin. Shout out to my boy Amin because he supports a lot of stuff I do, man, whether it's bullshit or whether it's real shit, he's always there. That's my guy in Oregon. Grew up with him.
Yeah.
He's a hooper, man. He's a hooper for real. He's got his coat. You would be proud, bro. He's got his Kobe's on every time he steps on the court. But with that being said, bro, getting into it, he made an interesting comment. Detroit basketball seems to be on the right path, but
It is.
somebody who seems to be just a few steps behind in their progression is Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey has all the potential in the world. So I'm going to pose you this question. Cade Cunningham and Zach Lavine on the same team, and the Chicago Bulls acquire Jaden Ivey. Is that something that you think realistically does make sense for both sides, where you get a sure thing and an all-star in a basketball community that cannot acquire legitimate free agents? Detroit just hasn't been able to get real free agents. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So you get a guy like Zach Lavine, you get Cade Cunningham, you have Isaiah Stewart, the man who took on LeBron James, James Wiseman and company. Rob still got his feelings on Isaiah.
Nah, come on, man.
But in all seriousness,
Don't go get tough with LeBron, really.
Do you see that being a realistic possibility?
No.
I think it is. I disagree. I solely disagree. I think they love Jaden, but I think Jaden is 2-3 years away from developing to who he needs to be. Now, if Detroit wants to start winning games right now, I don't think Detroit's in a window. You see their head coach. You see how they're ran. I think they're in a place right now where it's like, listen, we got Cade Cunningham. I see what Minnesota's doing. I see what New Orleans is doing, what Memphis was doing when Ja was on the court, and what they will be doing when Ja gets back. Shout out Jeezy because they need him bad. But, I see that. Beal for Zach, get out of here. Goodbye. Keep him. You wanted him. We told you. We tried to say it. We tried to tell them. Nah, it wasn't Jay specifically. But there's a lot of Suns fans were crazy about that move.
I kept telling y'all, you got to let the season play out. Will they be healthy?
Now,
that's always a question with fear. But when it comes to Jaden Ivey, man, like you said, you think that he's 2 or 3 years away from being who you think he can develop into. And that's a scary thing if the Bulls grab him, because we have shown in years past we're not good at developing players, because all players get better once they leave us. I wouldn't trust the Bulls coaching staff to develop this young talent. I think Jaden Ivey's gonna be fine with it. Ain't Monty Smith? That's the coach of Detroit, right? Who's coaching Detroit? Monty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I prefer a Monty Williams and Coach Monty Williams and developing this young kid, as opposed to him coming to Billy Donovan and the rest of this Bulls organization. We have not been good at developing players. No. Lauri Markkanen played with us for a couple of years, and the moment he gets to Utah, he's most improved player of the year. That should tell you something.
Even what he did in Cleveland for the small stint that he was in Cleveland.
That should tell you something, man. That I'm just.
But we apologize. We apologize. We got a couple more topics tonight. We're off with the Bulls. We had to get that out because Rob and I have been desperately waiting to have this conversation because, oh boy, we are excited for trade day, man. The best part about basketball, man, is the projects.
Yeah.
Is okay, man. So look, Rob. Here's what I got. We got 3 young studs in a deal for Zach Lavine. Let's see how they pan out. Let's see who they become. Maybe they could be all-stars. Maybe they could be top 10 players. And they never do. They always hurt my feelings. They always break my heart. But it's nice to dream. And right now, my dream is a nightmare, as Meek Mill once said. But with that being said, let's get into a man who season started off a nightmare, but he always kept his head on high. Joel Embiid said he's the happiest man in the room. The man is smiling and cracking jokes at 7 a.m, but he just woke up. I don't know what he's happy about. And you have these conversations about a man who, despite a James Harden who refused to go to practice, showed up every day and said, I am ready for my moment. Tyreese Maxey last week drops a 50 ball. Shout out Pat Bev in the background, by the way.
50.
This man
Nifty
was my most improved player of the year in our first show. I forgot who you had, but I had Tyreese Maxey. Who did you have, Rob?
I don't think I picked anybody yet.
I don't think, maybe you didn't, but I had Tyreese Maxey because, one, inevitably I knew James Harden was going to leave and the numbers would climb for Maxey. But talk to me a little bit about what this means. Not for Tyreese Maxey, not for the city of Philadelphia, but what this means for Joel Embiid and his response to Giannis obviously acquiring Dame, saying, I just want to win championships. I don't care if it's in Philly or not. He kind of made that claim. Do you think that Maxey's arrival is saving Philly's chances of
Oh,
keeping?
without a doubt, and I think this is a testament to show how much. And I hate to say it like this, but I gotta call it the truth how I see it. This shows how much of a cancer James Harden is because we see what he's doing with the Clippers right now. They haven't won a game since he's been there, and the moment he leaves Philly, Tyreese Maxey just feels like there's a breath of fresh air where I can actually show what I can do. Because you talk about the 50 piece. Let's talk about one of the most impressive things is that he followed that up with 27 points. Did he start off the game right? No. But he came through in the clutch. And even though Indiana ended up taking that game, him and Halliburton was going at it in the fourth quarter. And Halliburton happened to have a teammate that stepped up as well, and Miles Turner, who hit, I think, 15 fourth quarter points or something like that. So, that's what I'm saying. Tyreese Maxey is showing what can happen when you finally let the dogs loose. When you say we hold no restrictions on you, you got the green light, and he's been showing up and showing out. Not to mention it helps when Joel Embiid is averaging 33 points in the league.
Yeah.
When your MVP is coming back with another MVP like here, that's definitely gonna help. I'm gonna just tell you like this, man. I think letting go of Doc Rivers, getting rid of James Harden, you kind of just released this inner demon that's been nagging at you that all last season. And am I saying Philly's gonna win the championship? No. But what I'm saying is out of 10 games to have Philly as one of the best teams in the league, that's a testament to who Joel Embiid is as a player. And it's a testament to who Maxey is becoming as a player. I'm proud of these guys, man. I think Tyreese Maxey is a dog. He's definitely going to be an all-star this year.
100%.
He's definitely going to be. Well, I think it's in Indiana, right? He's going to be in Indianapolis this year. Yeah.
Now
it was announced that, and Mike, I want us to go to this one. Next year's All-Star game is going to be at the Chase. They're going to the Yay area.
Come on.
I got to get out there to see Steph.
Come on, let's do it. Let's ride. But we go into the Bay. Mars, what would that be? Mars' 2-year anniversary. We going to the Bay.
Yeah, we gotta do something, man.
But it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But here's my last point I want to make about Philly. The question right now to me, and Christopher hits it in this comment right below. He says the mood has over in here in Philly has changed. The players seem happier when I run into them. Here's my question, because they did it so beautifully, Rob. We talked about it in the DeMar DeRozan trade proposal, and I want to kind of piggyback into that, kind of bring that back in, because the way they set up the James Harden move, they didn't acquire another star. They didn't get a Russell Westbrook. They didn't get Paul George. They didn't get a Kawhi Leonard. They got a lot of one-year rental pieces, veteran guys who together combined for a max slot deal. Now they can wait to the summer of free agency. There's a lot of big names. This free agency is going to be cracking, especially with, let's not even talk about what trades are possible this free agency, but just the guys who are available. But Rob, do you think they wait as an organization till free agency to bring in a third guy? Or do you think you see them at the deadline go aggressive for another star player by trading assets in order to try to get Philly over the hump to get to the finals?
I don't think I don't think you mess up the way that this team is grooving right now. I will wait until the off season to go look for another max player, but you don't know what you can do right now. Let's be honest. There's no definitive clear-cut team that stands out and you said that team is going to win the championship. Because you look at the Denver Nuggets, but they're going through injuries right now. You don't know if their bench is going to be as strong down the stretch. And, we don't know how healthy Jamal Murray is going to be. They just came out and said he might have to miss an entire month with this hamstring injury. Then the Boston Celtics. We're talking about a team, in the words of LeBron, that's top heavy as hell. Their bench is really lackluster to me.
Right.
You look at Golden State. We don't know if they'll be able to defend enough because they're not, they're height challenged. as a team. They're small. They're a little bit
But
on the small.
here's what I want to pose though, right? So like because you mentioned it, and I think it was a perfect transition. You mentioned I don't want to mess up what's currently working, what's
Yeah, this
currently
is
the work of
working.
success. But here's something that I think. Remember when they acquired Kawhi in what 2018, 2019? We're talking about Toronto, of course.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really trade away anything that was too crazy. Of course, they traded away Debo, but he wasn't really a X factor at that point in time. Now, what I do see right here, when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers payroll, I'm going to name you the top 5 highest paid guys. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I buckle up. Are you strapped in?
That's it.
Because, man, when you hear how much these guys make, you're going to want to get back in the gym and start shooting shots, man, because these guys are getting
Oh,
paid.
I've been feeling that way, man. When I seen Jaylen Brown get $300 million.
Well, check this out. We got right now Joel Embiid making $47.5 million a year.
Deserved.
Tobias Harris is making $39 million a year.
Not deserved.
Now, I want to ask you, Rob, out of the players on this team who are deserving, who would you guess is the third highest paid player?
Right now,
Take a guess. Who would you expect it to be if eyes were closed, you didn't know who was there, you'd think it was Maxey, right?
yes.
It's Marcus Morris making $17 million, Nicholas Bateman making $11 million.
But they just picked that up,
Robert Covington making $11 million.
But I like Robert Covington. I actually think,
I do as well.
and shout out to Robert Covington making his return back to Philly.
Mhm.
A nice 3-and-D guy, a guy that can, get the job done defensively and stretch the floor out offensively. That's what I'm saying. You look at what Philly gave away. You gave up a PJ Tucker who's not his former defensive self. You give up a James Harden who the last time we seen him on the court, he was scoring 9 points in the Game 7 in the NBA playoffs against the Celtics. That's what I'm saying. You get back Nicholas Batum. You get back Robert Covington. You get back one of the Morris twins. This is what I'm saying, man. Like I think Philly right now they got something brewing, and is no clear cut win in the East.
I agree. But I
Philly
also
doesn't make it to the big dance with what they got now.
I agree, but I also think here's me, right? Here's where we can
You can't just always look at names.
100%. But here's where we can disagree though, because I'm not with you. I'm not with you at all. I look at that and I say exactly what you just said. I'm gonna turn it around, right? Because you could look at both sides of the coin all the time. Okay, so we could rock out with the squad we got because there's no clear cut. But if there's no clear cut, I'm gonna go all in. And I think if I see a DeMar DeRozan available and all I have to give up to make the salary work, I'm gonna give up a draft pick. I'm gonna give up Batum, and Morris, and the money works. And I'm doing it because then you have a big three. You have
You just don't want to mess up the feel of your team.
Right, but if I don't think that messes up the feeling of the team because of what DeMar brings. Just being a mid-range guy, not going too crazy, he's not clogging up the paint. I think that's going to bring something to this team that they actually lack. We saw in the playoffs last year what happened when James can't make shots, when Joel can't make shots. They didn't have that third guy when Harden and James went down. If Maxey can't shoot shots, and Joel can't be in the clutch, like we've seen him time and time again not be in the clutch come the postseason. The only time I'll give him a pass is when he had a stomach ache, because I will give him. It's a real.
Dude always has a stomach ache.
It's a real thing, man. My stomach hurt too sometimes. All right, but
I know the feeling.
But I'm just saying, in the clutch when he is on the court, Joel Embiid goes missing a lot. If you bring in a DeMar DeRozan, not that DeMar gets clutch in the playoffs, but I think you're bringing in somebody that, okay, now we have a lot of different bodies to focus on. Somebody's going to hit. I think it's better than looking at Tobias Harris as my number 3 option going up against the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks. If you can have 4 of your starting 5 players, Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan, Tyreese Maxey, and Tobias Harris, Rob, I think you're in a beautiful spot going into the playoffs, and I think you can go tick for tack with just about anybody. But we got our last topic of the night because Rob's tired, and I have a mild concussion, and I need to go memes. I need to go sit in the dark and think about life. But play Kid Cudi. Mr. Rager. I'm going to be all night long. You know me. With that being said, though, man, I want to talk about it. The Los Angeles Clippers are 0-5 since trading for James Harden. Me and you talked about it when it happened, man. We said should have rocked out with Terrence Mann. They were winning. They were one of the top. And mind you, it was the first couple weeks, so it doesn't mean anything. They were one of the
Nah, but
top.
it meant something
It meant
because
everything.
they were what a lot of people didn't notice was the momentum they carried from last year. Remember, they bought in Russ and they kind of turned it up. And if Kawhi doesn't go down with an injury during that series against Phoenix, we saw how tough Russ was playing Kevin Durant. He was telling, I know you. I know what you want to do. He was getting blocks. He was getting and ones. He was getting triple doubles. Like Russell Westbrook went to a team where he was appreciated and he was happy, and Russ was giving them 110%. And then you bring that into the new season. Everybody's supposedly coming back healthy. These guys were rocking and rolling until you bring in the cancer.
Now, obviously, we know why Bomber did it. Big names. We talked about that when the trade happened. He wants the big names. He doesn't care about really what happens with those names or if they fit together. Like, to me personally, I still don't think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are a match made in heaven. But, it is what it is. At the end of the day, you got to make a move. You got to make. No one knew SGA was going to be SGA. So you can't look back on it like that. You could do that all night long. But, Rob, you kind of knew what you were getting into when you traded for James Harden. There's a reason the Miami Heat didn't trade for him. There's a reason the Lakers haven't traded for him. There's a reason big-time organizations, real contenders, aren't making a move for James Harden. They make this move. What do you think Ty Lue needs to do to kind of right this wrong that the front office made? Because to me, I think Russ has taken a lot of blame. I think PG is taking a lot of blame. And the only person that I haven't seen take a lot of blame is the system, quote unquote, in James Harden. So do you think a benching of James Harden needs to occur? And do you think more than anything, do you think that Ty Lue has the authority to do that? Do you think the front office will allow that to happen?
The front office can't control what goes on the court. The
I
court
think
is his domain.
I
The
think
front office controls the moves that they make. But once the moves have been made and he's on the court, I control it. That's what you bought me here for. Coach Tyronn Lue has won championships. And many consider him one of the best coaches in the NBA today. You have to trust the mind. You have to trust the guy that you hire, and stop trusting in people's names. You're going to trust in the name, trust in a proven name. Coach Tyronn Lue is proven. Look at what he did with LeBron. When everybody was talking about, he garnished the respect of LeBron. You know what I'm saying? He knows, hey, I'll bust my ass for Coach Lue. That's what I'm saying. You bringing in a proven guy. And James Harden, unfortunately, regardless of what money he's made, regardless of what he's been promised, having him come off the bench is a win-win situation for everybody. For the starters, you get back into a groove. Russell gets the ball again. Because the one thing about Russell Westbrook, he's not gonna hold on to the ball. He wants to pass the ball. Russ is, they say he's stat padding for triple double. He wants his teammates to be successful. And for James Harden, you can now go score 30 on the second unit. Jamal Crawford averaged like 25 coming off the bench 3 times, 6th man of the year. It can be done. That's all I'm saying. Look at Lou, my boy Lemon Pepper Lou.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying, man. Just because you're relegated to coming off the bench doesn't mean that you're no longer the guy. It's just saying you're better suited to lead this second unit. What happened when the Warriors finally, Steve Kerr had that tough conversation with CP3? They started to win. Yep. They started to win.
And that, honestly, I think that was the plan all along. They just needed Chris to kind of see that in order for him to believe it.
Yes, and I get it. It's tough. It's tough to a guy's ego. Remember, Melo had the whole situation. Hey, Chief, they said they want me to come off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Who coming off the bench? You know what I mean? But eventually, Allen Iverson, another big-time player, had to eventually come off the bench. It happens. James Harden has proven that he is not the James Harden of old. He's not the James Harden of Houston. Houston has a young team right now, and they're rocking and rolling. Even that team told James Harden, if you think you're going to come back here and think you're going to score 30 a night and you're going to ruin the vibe of our team, you can stay your ass over there in Philly. And they turned him down. They turned down Daryl Moore. That's what I'm saying, man. And to your credit, Mike, like you said, Steve Ballmer, he's gonna get the names because he
Right.
wants to put asses in seats. But you also got to
Yeah.
understand there's a sacrifice you make, and sometimes you're making the sacrifice in the wrong way that's gonna interfere with winning.
And I think that was a part of what I said. I love the look you made because it's a conversation that shouldn't even be had about
Yeah.
Tyronn Lue not having the authority. But Bomber's that kind of guy. You know what I mean? Bomber's that kind of guy that it kind of like we saw Bus, the great Bus. I love Bus, but Bus also made some phone calls that he shouldn't have made to guys like Pat Riley and company. Like, you stay out of it. You know what I mean? Like, let them do what they do. But I could see Bomber being the type of guy. If James Harden calls Bomber, hey, man, they want me coming off the bench. Fix this right now. Boom, click, gone. Hey, he going to come in and say, I need Harden to start. And I think that's the problem to me, is a front office that cares more about the wrong things than the right things. Lou's going to do what's best for this organization. Is Bomber going to get in the way of that because of his ego and because of things he wants done? And I think Harden is such a huge part of that. And Harden is just one of those guys that I think, like you said, everybody figures it out. Everybody has the come into Jesus moment. But sometimes I think it happens later. Sometimes I think you reflect on your career and say, maybe if I did this, it doesn't always get fixed in this current moment. So I don't see James being that guy that accepts that six-man role lightly. I think issues could continue to transpire, and I just think it's really unfortunate, man. But before we get out of here,
I'll say this as my last point.
Yeah.
Remember, talent provides patience and tolerance. So for right now, they're still banking on who James Harden could be or who he has been.
Right.
But
you want the MVP.
As the season progresses, trust me, when you see it's not working, and this is not the guy, the guy that you purchased is not the guy that was advertised.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Steve Ballmer would then get complete autonomy of the team to coach Tyronn Lue and say, you do what's best for the organization, because you have to remember, I just said this about the Eastern Conference. Definitely applies in the West. You lose 3 or 4 games in the West and you can find yourself in a whole heap of trouble. In the West, losing 2 or 3 games can get you from number 2 to number 3.
I mean, man, look at Memphis. Look at
Memphis.
Memphis is in a spot right now where, personally, myself, as of today, November 15th, I think Memphis misses the playoffs. And I don't think they have no time to wait for Ja in the 25 games, which originally, Rob, at the beginning of the year, we didn't think those 25 games would really matter because we didn't think it would be this bad.
Well, things started going to hell when Steven Adams went down.
I mean, yeah, Steven Adams went down, Clark was still down, and all these other guys, D Rose goes down immediately, and it's just like, man, so many things are going wrong.
Yeah.
But with that being said, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that follow button. YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, baby. Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
I just want to give a special shout out to my baby sister celebrating her 31st birthday. Happy birthday, Jessica. I hope you're enjoying your time out there in Nolens, and know that big bro love you and always got your back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy birthday. But with that being said, we got a word from our sponsor really quick. Bench Mob Chicago. You can always check out Bench Mob Chicago. They're always sponsoring the Welcome to Mars podcast, Rob's 2 cents, and Mike on the Mic, or the Shy Kid. We're always checking them out. We're always showing them some love. Definitely check them out on Instagram at Bench Mob Chicago or benchmob.com on. You can go Google, I guess. But you can check out their merch on their page. Get amazing t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, wristbands like Rob and I wear. You can check that out all the time, or go on their social medias. You can check out things like Shy Slamma Jamma, the best dunk of the night. You can also check out things like Game Time Stats to see who's going to be playing that day, or my favorite, Bench Mobber of the night, the best bench player of the Bulls. Next couple weeks are going to be interesting to see who the best bench player is, because I don't even know who's going to be starting, Rob. But Dalen Terry? I don't know. Maybe Dalen get some work.
I think you need to go ahead and let that Dalen Terry dream go.
I ain't letting it go. Man, if he just stayed quiet, I wouldn't say a word, but he talked too much. But man, with that being said, we appreciate you guys for listening today. Make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe, leave a comment, share it out to everybody you can, because we're always trying to make more content for everybody else. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, before we get out of here,
Gotta fight for your right to party!
Let's just still feel the same. Shoot the train in the lane. My music unruly. I'm on the train, flipping lane. Shoot the train, oh, really?
Ladies and gentlemen.